Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Online Candidate Forum.
Good
This
morning.
morning, good morning. We have Ryan Dickey with us this morning. Nice to see you, Ryan, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Just wanted to give a quick rundown. This is up close with Park City candidates, and this is one of 5 candidate-focused spotlights that we're going to be holding for the 2025 mayoral and city council elections. These sessions are hosted by the Citizens Climate Lobby, Proactive Alliance, and the Wasatch Back League of Women Voters. Each candidate has already been given 3 questions in advance, and we'll start with those questions. And then we're going to ask 3 on-the-spot questions directly relating to that candidate or candidate-specific questions. The session will be moderated by the 3 of us. I'm Susan Odell with the Proactive Alliance. I'm going to be the timekeeper. We have Tracy Harden with the Citizens Climate Lobby. She'll be asking questions. And Corey Shadrick also with the Proactive Alliance, who will also be asking questions. Each question will have approximately 2 minutes for a response, and we'll also have some time at the end for Ryan to give a little bit more about what he wants to tell voters. And I think, for the next 20 to 30 minutes, that's what we'll be all about. So let's get started. Ryan is running for Park City Mayor and is currently on the council, if you didn't know that already. So the first 3 questions will be the ones that they've already had in advance. And let's get started with Tracy asking the first question.
Ryan, Park City's 2030 goals target reductions in greenhouse gas emissions from major sources like transportation, buildings, landfills, and more. What specific policies or initiatives would you champion to accelerate our progress towards these sustainability targets?
Yeah, thanks for that question. And the great news and exciting part of being in Park City is that we're a leader on climate, especially in our mountain communities. We started Mountain Town 2030. We brought mountain towns together in Park City in 2019, which spurred a permanent effort by mountain towns to reduce their carbon emissions. And they actually looked to Park City for guidance on how to do that. So for us, pushing toward that 2030 renewables goal of net zero, we're part of Utah Renewable Communities. So that's something that's in progress with 19 towns in Utah that we need to continue to keep our foot on the gas to hit that 2030 goal. Nothing in this state is set in stone, so we'll continue to work together to hit that goal. Waste diversion is key for us, and to continue to do better with diversion. So we have a waste diversion ordinance that we need to pass that we just actually talked about in our council meeting last week, and hope to finalize the next few weeks, which is to say something that you probably expected is already a regulation, but actually isn't, which says if you have a business in Park City, you must have a hauler contract to dispose of waste, and that hauler must also have recycling. So something simple that actually we don't have today that we'll have in the future. We need to do better on food waste, but we're going to keep working with the Community Foundation and their pilot. That's a great pilot and really interesting in that most pilots have a cap on a maximum number of folks who can participate. This one has a minimum. We say we need 1,000 households and businesses to participate in this food waste initiative. And then we'll get going. And there is no cap on that at all. We have a study to look at geothermal heat loops, especially in the Main Street area. So capturing heat from the ground and using the ground as a heat sink for net zero energy in commercial areas. And of course, we have efforts around wildfire and moving toward 100% electric bus fleet. So exciting things happening in Park City and sustainability. And we just have to keep our foot on the gas, especially towards that 2030 goal.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Lots of information there. Appreciate that. Corey will handle our second question. Corey from the Proactive Alliance.
Hi, Ryan. Public trust in government is essential to a healthy democracy. What specifically would you do to strengthen each of the following areas? Transparency in decision-making, civic participation, and the residents of Park City's confidence in city leadership.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Transparency is a buzzword in our political discourse and really around the country for the last 10 years. And when it comes to Park City, we have an incredibly transparent government. We sort of joke that how many city employees does it take to change a light bulb, and that's the same number of employees that it takes to hold an open house about changing the light bulb. I mean, we are out in the community. We're always showing our work. We have an incredibly transparent government. And when I think about transparency, I think about it really like any government or business initiative. It's composed of people, process, and technology. When it comes to process and technology, we do great. The information is out there. We have processes to make our government transparent. We have the technology to show it to our residents, social media, a really robust website that could be a little more searchable. I'd like to work on that too. But I think transparency fundamentally comes down to people, and that's individual people making decisions to be transparent in their thought process that leads to their decisions. And I think that's where we've fallen below the bar a little bit. For example, our push to implement ranked choice voting in our last election, our council approved that move, and then just days before we were set to give notice to the Lieutenant Governor's office, our council changed course and undid ranked choice voting based on information that it wouldn't share with the public, individual council members. And so I would challenge us to do better. I'll challenge us as mayor to show our work, show the public that decision making, because I think the public's going to agree or disagree with decisions that we make. But as long as you're bringing them along, you're explaining why you make the decisions that you make, that's good government. So we'll continue to support it with that process, that technology, that backbone of transparency that we have as a city. But it's up to us as a community to elect leaders and put leaders in office who are going to behave with transparency and accountability for their decisions.
Great. Okay, thanks. Let's go back to Tracy for question number 3.
Ryan, how do you plan to address housing affordability, and what role should short-term rental regulation play in maintaining housing stock for permanent residents?
I love that question because housing affordability is a key reason I decided to run for office in the first place. So much starts with housing and housing affordability. So, we have a lot of technical things we do around housing. We study the need, we look at what we have, we set goals. But fundamentally, housing affordability is addressed by actually making the courageous decision at times to move forward with actually building and partnering to have and build affordable housing. So sometimes it's as simple as saying yes. So one of the things I'm most proud of on council is Engine House. So 99 affordable units in the center of town, walkable to 2 grocery stores, 2 transit lines, car optional development. So that's an ideal development that brings affordable housing to town, and we have others in our pipeline before us that we can act on. So the key to affordable housing, as I've said in our public meetings, is actually just saying yes. But of course, we need balance. We love our low-density, small-town environment. We're not trying to change the feel of town. We've got lots of opportunities for small infill developments that bring a little bit more of our workforce into town. When it comes to short-term rentals, we're limited with the state and what we can do, and we can't simply ban nightly rentals. And of course, we depend on visitation for our revenue and a lot of the nice things we have. So the key for short-term rentals is trying to put short-term rentals around our base area so that our visitors stay near our visitor amenities, and our neighborhoods are protected from short-term rentals. So it's incumbent upon us to effectively regulate short-term rentals where they're not allowed. And then over time, I think as we build out, for example, our base areas and move more short-term rentals to be walkable to ski areas, that we can take a further look at restricting nightly rentals in our neighborhoods. We want visitors where we want them, and we want our residents to be able to live in quiet, livable neighborhoods that are free from the impacts of tourism.
Great, perfect. Okay, now let's move on to the candidate-specific questions. These are on-the-spot questions. Ryan has not seen these before. A lot of these, some of them came out of the forum, the KPCW forum that we had last week, and just wanted some clarification or follow-up. So let's go to Corey to start that.
Ryan, how would you describe your leadership style, and how will your style enable the city to gain forward momentum? How will city staff and the community benefit from your approach?
My leadership style is collaborative and positive, and it's focused on goal setting and moving Park City forward towards our goals. So I spent the first half of my career in management consulting, leading teams in sort of high intensity short projects for large publicly traded companies. So on the ground, mission driven, delivering results. And then as a business owner, as a small business owner, also leading a team in town, I've just led a lot of teams throughout my career. The most important thing to leadership in our city is building trust and supporting our team and enabling them to innovate, take risks, to be allowed to fail, because we have a large mission-driven organization of mission-driven people, of folks who are looking to elected officials to show them what the mission is, have a clear vision, allow them to move forward, take risks, innovate, and make decisions on their own, and not use them as sort of political chips or pawns to ask questions in a meeting, or gotchas for council members to look smart. I mean, we got to really support our staff to have a clear vision, and support them as we move projects forward. So you're going to see me listening a lot, taking in a lot of information, leading the council to make affirmative decisions and not simply discuss, and then enabling our staff to move our priorities forward. I don't think it's hard. We saw on our Main Street area plan, for example, I was a council liaison to that committee. I told our staff, we're going to go out, we're going to come up with a lot of bold ideas. They're not all going to move forward. The community is not going to like them all, but I'm going to lean in public for you, and I'm going to support the recommendations of this committee, including our residents, including business owners, and I'll take the bullets. It's okay. And we did some of the best work I've seen in the city because our team knew that I would support them and I would stand up and advocate for their ideas in public. So if we apply that to all the issues that we push forward on as a city, to be honest, courageous, and lean in, our staff will respond and deliver great work.
Great, thanks. Tracy, do you have another question?
Ryan, much attention has been given to the city's pursuit of affordable housing at Clark Ranch. What limits, if any, do you believe the city should place on the amount of funding and infrastructure investment for this project?
Sure. I don't know if there's a strict financial limit. We operate within a pretty specific parameter, a target for a cost per unit, sort of between about $75,000 and $125,000 per unit. So we're always looking to find projects that meet that target, which to date, from the financials I've seen for Clark Ranch, are well on the low end of that target. So from a cost perspective, I think we're already there. From a size perspective, I think we've been very clear that there is a 10-acre limit that was set upon the purchase of Clark Ranch, 10 acres of those 344 that is set aside for housing. I don't want to see the development go beyond the 10. We need to keep that commitment to the community. And so, those are primarily our limits. Now, the specific density that's going to be on that site, what are the AMI levels, how much market rate, which reduces that city subsidy, will be in the development. Those are all things that will come before the council, and that we need to listen to the public. We need to collaborate with each other, take in that feedback to finalize those. We don't have that yet, but fundamentally, I do believe that Clark Ranch is an appropriate place for housing on just 10 of those 344 acres. That is a clear city vision, unanimous votes of councils and mayors since 2016 to move forward with housing in this location. It's sort of unfortunate that in an election season, we've seen council members change their mind. But I'm committed to moving forward with our commitments to our workforce and housing as a city. This is where things get tough at the last minute. You expect this, you know this. And so don't start pursuing things, difficult things as a city, if you don't have sort of the backbone and the toughness to see them through to the end. I don't think that's what our residents want from us, and I intend to continue to lean in and move forward.
Just a follow-up question to that. One of the other criticism of the Clark Ranch affordable housing is it's off of mass transit lines. Is that accurate assessment? And then what would be done to bring public transportation to Clark Ranch?
Well, it's accurate today because today it's it's a hillside, so we're not serving it with transit. So no argument there. Transit goes where we decide transit will go, and of course we'll serve this development with transit. And it's about 1/10 of a mile from what will eventually be a bus rapid transit line down Highway 224. So to say, being 1/10 of a mile from bus rapid transit and running a bus line to the development is not being served by transit, I think that lacks a little bit of a future forward view to what the development will be.
Right. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. One final question. Corey, will you take that one?
Yes. So Ryan, you've talked about protecting Park City's ski culture. Can you define what you mean by ski culture, and how does that apply to people of all income levels living in Park City?
Yeah, how do you define our ski culture? I mean, it's a little bit, you know it when you see it, but I think probably fundamentally it's defined by the people that work and enjoy the ski industry actually living in our town. So, there was a time in our city's history and still a time in some other ski towns' history where that ski tech at the mountain or that barista at the coffee shop, the people that supported our ski industry worked in town. And that to me is the magic of a ski town, that we experience it together. And there's sort of no, it's a magical moment when you go to the resort and you see someone working there that's a friend or a neighbor, and you feel this connection to our local resorts and to skiing that doesn't exist when the mountain is simply staffed by a workforce that we import from another location, and we sort of surf on our recreation amenities and watch the visitors go by. So that is tied to affordability. It goes back to our affordability initiatives around housing and childcare. Can 100% of the workforce live here? Of course not. But we want to have diverse income levels. We want to have young people in town. We see our town getting older. We're all getting older, but we want to have young people in this town. We see our child age population declining. I want to see a more complete community, certainly to maintain what we have, because I think that's part of the magic of town that makes it a great place to live. I don't want to lose that. I would enjoy living here less. And certainly as I think about raising kids in Park City, I don't want us to be a very homogenous culture where I don't see my child's teachers in the grocery store or on the soccer sideline. That just makes it a better place. It makes our kids healthier as they grow up here. So a little bit hard to define, but I think we all know what that ski culture magic is, and we just don't want to lose it here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan, for your responses and great information. I think it's time to wrap up. Tracy?
Ryan, in 2 minutes, what final messages would you like to leave to the Park City voters?
Sure. Well, I guess the best thing to do is ask for folks to vote. I think I bring quite a bit to the job as I ask for your vote. I bring experience, 4 years on city council, leading on our most important accomplishments, 5 years on the planning commission, leading some of the largest public hearings in Summit County's history, applying balance to the land use applications that are before us. I'm endorsed by every former mayor of Park City, a period that goes back to 1990 when we were still stopping 224 so that cows could cross the road. I'm raising 2 young children in town. I have small businesses in town. I'm experienced. I'm ready to lead. I really know the community. I really feel like I know this community in sort of every corner. It's a complex community with a lot of different sub-communities and little groups and interesting little areas. It's a tough community to get to know, and I put in the work to do that. So I think we need positive leadership to move Park City forward, and I hope you'll pick me to be the person to do that.
Great. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan,
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate you taking the time to run for office and to answer our questions today. We wish you the best of luck in your campaign, and we look forward to a big voter turnout November 4th. Everybody vote. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.